Well, with me now is James Rubinowitz, New York City attorney. James, E. Jean Carroll was awarded something like $80 million for this civil case. Why now is the DOJ going after her? What are they accusing her of doing?
Great question. And the crazy thing is she was awarded closer to $88.5 million after two cases in state court, eventually removed to federal court in 2023 and 2024. And unfortunately, I think the message that is being sent right now is if you sue Donald Trump and win, the Justice Department is going to come after you, which is not what anyone wants. I think everybody can agree, regardless of whether you are a pro-Trump person or an anti-Trump person, you always want the federal government to have weight behind it when they bring a federal case against you. And in the last few days with Abrego Garcia, with Letitia James, with James Comey, it seems like if you brought a case against Donald Trump, then you will be sued yourself. And that's not what we want. But unfortunately, that seems to be the reason for this case being brought against her.
Yes, I probably will agree with you on that it seems like Trump is out for some revenge. However, I always make the argument from a human perspective, which is, maybe you'll tell me I'm talking rubbish, they impeached him. They tried to jail him for life. They went after his businesses. They debanked his family. They tried to kill him. They made up lies about him, the Russia collusion hoax. Just from a human perspective, are you surprised, James, that the president wants some revenge? He knows he's not getting re-elected again. He's 80 in a couple of weeks' time. He's probably thinking, I'm going to make these SOBs pay for what they did to me.
You're absolutely right. And that's exactly what he's doing, of course, making those SOBs pay. And I'm not surprised because it seems like this is the exact tactic he takes every single time he has something go wrong in his presidency. He uses the Justice Department to lever whatever it possibly can be against those people who are attacking him. Whether that's the right thing for him to do is the big question, and I unfortunately think it's undermining his presidency, which I don't think any American wants the president of the United States having their presidency undermined.
I will say, though, James, surely the DOJ has some evidence of perjury. Otherwise, they wouldn't have brought a case, or, I mean, are they just cooking stuff up?
Well, forgetting what you did 2 years earlier, which is, of course, what the DOJ is arguing, is not perjury in any way. It's a Tuesday. And I could tell you it's one of these things where when you have a case that is pursuing a contingency fee, like these attorneys were on behalf of Jean Carroll, it's not a case where you are working on billable hours. It's also not a case that you need to know where your attorneys are getting their money from, simply because you're not paying for it out of your own pocket. You assume when you sign that retainer, especially in New York, where this case was litigated, also where I practice, the state of New York requires in a retainer that you as an attorney disclose that you will be fronting those legal fees. So when that happens, your clients really don't know where that money is coming from. So the question in this case right now is whether or not at a deposition more than 3 years before these cases went to trial was actually real, whether or not it was a perjury issue. Now, in New York, you have 4 elements for perjury. It is a statement under oath that was false, a defendant knew was false when made, and was material to the proceeding. A circuit court, meaning the appeals court in the federal system, has now ruled 2 times that this absolutely was not material to the trial and should be instead considered as some type of impeachment evidence, meaning when I say impeachment, I'm not talking about an impeachment against Trump. I'm meaning impeaching the credibility of E. Jean Carroll during the trial, undermining her credibility. This case, of course, ruled 2 times that this was not the situation, and, of course, the circuit court believed that it was not perjury.
So she's being accused of paying lawyers with money from Reid Hoffman, right? That is the charge.
So that's not the charge. That's what they're saying. What they're saying is that she was aware that Mr. Hoffman bankrolled her litigation. And the thing is, she certainly did know, which of course is why the DOJ is coming after her so aggressively. But the thing to know is in 2022, before these two cases went to trial, the E. Jean Carroll legal team disclosed that she was aware, she made a mistake, and it became an issue that went to the judge and then the appeals court. The appeals court ultimately decided that this was not an issue. And of course, the jury also had the ability to make a ruling based on that evidence. And 2 times in a row, the jury knew about it and decided to rule in E. Jean Carroll's favor.
Okay, interesting. Well, we'll see how this pans out. What are the next legal steps? What can we look out for next, James, the big updates?
This is what I'm excited about. So the next legal steps are whether or not the Justice Department is going to be allowed to proceed with this case. And that is going to be the big question. Of course, E. Jean Carroll's attorneys are going to make a motion to try to dismiss this case, saying this is not any type of claim that has base or legs. And whether or not it's allowed to proceed in criminal court is going to be the big question, and one that I'm looking at, because what it will mean for the Justice Department and what it'll mean for E. Jean Carroll will be 2 very different things, especially when compared to that civil case that resulted in $88.5 million. Whether or not she's able to keep it, I think, will be the big question.
Yeah, interesting. I think she's living in the woods now, isn't she? I saw a video of her living in the woods and doing some mad stuff in the woods. James, thanks very much. Appreciate